It's a who's who of the state's bowling elite, 4 internationals and 18 state representatives. City and Country each represented by 5 teams of 4, with 3 tests played over the weekend. Country has won the last 4 titles and carried that form into the first test, winning 3 rinks to 2. But City can still win the elusive crown after tying the second test at 2.5 apiece. The state squad will be announced after tomorrow's final test. Meanwhile, some of the state's best lifesavers were at Swansea today, pushing for the last 2 places in the Kellogg's Ironman series. Adrian Tobin doing his chances no harm after being named man of the meet. Olympic kayak hopeful Peter Scott boosted his Atlanta ambitions with a powerful win in the men's ski race. Swansea Belmont was the standout club, easily winning the overall title. To baseball, and the Hunter Eagles have won their second game of the season with a 15-7 victory over the Melbourne Reds at Maitland. The Eagles shot to the lead with 5 runs in the first innings. The home team continued to apply the pressure to the reigning premiers, leading 11 runs to 5 after the 5th. The teams will meet again tomorrow for the final 2 games of the series. Richard O'Leary, NBN News.
High school girls are immunised against rubella, or commonly known as German measles, which can be detrimental to their health and babies. But now boys are being struck down with the disease. The current outbreak of rubella is affecting males in the 16 to 25 age group. According to Chris Wilkinson from the Hunter Public Health Unit, German measles has reached epidemic proportions in the region.
For this time of the year, we generally have anything from 4 to 15 a month. The last few months we've had reportings up to 70, 80 reports.
While the symptoms include fever, rash, swollen glands and joint pain, some show no sign of illness but still carry the virus. While this is not a major health problem for men, passing rubella onto a pregnant woman can have devastating consequences.
The unborn child can be affected by either the pregnancy can be aborted spontaneously or the child can be stillborn, or if the child is born alive then there are chances of abnormalities.
Women trying to fall pregnant are being encouraged to visit their GP as the immunisation they received in high school may have worn off. Amanda Bolger, NBN News.
Prominent local soccer player Neil Sydney Ridgway died on August 3 last year when a ball of flame engulfed the garage in which he was working. Even now, more than a year and a coroner's inquest later, the cause of the fatal blaze remains uncertain. While coroner Nicholas Reimer today found Mr Ridgway died of smoke inhalation following an accidental fire, he made no conclusive finding as to what caused the fire. The coroner considered written statements from 21 witnesses, including Detective Senior Constable Anthony Ross from the Newcastle Crime Scene Unit. Detective Ross stated that before the fire, Mr Ridgway had been fixing a car parked in the garage using jumper leads. He stated a spark was most probably caused when the clamps at the free end of the booster cables came into contact with one another. This spark then ignited somewhere about the point of origin of the fire. The source of the fuel could not be located, but Mrs Ridgway stated that flammable liquids such as mower fuel, liquid petroleum gas and paint thinners were stored in containers in the garage. Laura Saperstein, NBN News.
something permanent. You know, they've had their parties, they've had their fireworks, but now they've got a little bit of a mural that's going to keep them going.
Former World War II fighter pilot Charles Chambers has spent the past 28 years leading the Sydney City mission through new directions. Today he encouraged people of the Hunter to offer their voluntary or monetary support to the plight of homeless, disadvantaged and unemployed people.
I hope that as a result of the interest here today, Hunter Mission will be able to continue and increase its training of young people and placing them in employment.
Later, he attended the graduation of the Hunter Mission's final Get Started project, an employment training scheme for teenagers between 15 and 19 years of age. State government funding for the project has been withdrawn, despite it having a 73% success rate during the 3 years it has been operating. Mr Chambers encouraged the graduates to make the most of their new skills. They were reassured the Hunter Mission would always support them in their times of need. Heather Stewart, NBN News.
Toronto is alive and well, that's if its main street, the Boulevard, is any indication. It's part of the Main Street program, a plan to revitalise business in towns across the state.
If it looks bright and bubbly, if in fact the shops are full, there's a fresh coat of paint on the shops, there's energy in the community, you get a good feel about it.
The people of Dungog are looking for that good feeling. They've taken on about $15,000 of state government funding looking at urban design for Dowling Street.
If we have a concept of a village atmosphere in Dungog, you'll find that all of the businesses here will reflect that, and if they get enthusiastic, then we think business will naturally follow enthusiasm.
Scone, Muswellbrook and Singleton are also on the program. Each town forms a Main Street committee to work with both state and local governments. It gives concerned locals a chance to have a say on the look of their front yard. Peter Ryan, NBN News.
As a decoy, the terrorists set a car alight and then began their attack on Newcastle's Emergency Management Building in Islington. While the fire service attended to the car, police cordoned off the area and ambulance crews tended to the injured. The clearance diving team was quick to the site after it became obvious the terrorists had taken hold of the premises. The exercise gave all factions of the emergency services an opportunity to test combining skills in a crisis.
It's extremely vital that we keep our level of readiness and expertise at top notch.
It's aimed to be as realistic as possible to keep everyone involved on their toes.
All the devices normally have small explosive things just to keep them awake, and they know that if they actually set off a device it will make a bang and they'll know they would have been dead in reality.
And today was a chance for Australia's 160 operational clearance divers to get some credit. These people will be the first to put their life on the line, protecting Australia's ports and nearby buildings during an attack. Heather Stewart, NBN News. These wily creatures really had a challenge to make it to the other end of the tunnel. There was only one way out, but with all the commotion and excitement, much to their owners' dismay, many shy little ferrets didn't want to.
Yeah, it's his first race. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, we'll be back next year.
Set in East Maitland at the Hunter River Hotel, the unique event brought out ferrets of all shapes and sizes.
I've seen butterflies race, cockroaches race, garfish races, the craziest thing I've ever attended.
Funds raised today will be donated to Raymond Terrace's Riding for Disabled group.
The Valentine Hydrotherapy Centre was built nearly 20 years ago to help polio sufferers overcome the crippling disease. Now it's the aged and people with disabilities and injuries who go there for relief, relaxation and to fight to regain some of their mobility.
I can't jog anymore, I can't walk fast anymore, but I can swim.
The organisation is celebrating the completion of a $150,000 enclosed swimming area, the money raised through raffles, donations and cake stalls. There are future plans to deepen the pool, add change rooms and an office. Since a special heated hydrotherapy pool was built in the 80s, demand has almost outstripped the centre's capabilities. The driver of the small white sedan had little time to react when an out-of-control Commodore slammed into his vehicle. The cars had been travelling in opposite directions on Reservoir Road at Cardiff just after 9 o'clock. According to the police crash investigation unit, the Commodore skidded on a gravel shoulder, then crossed the road into the path of the other vehicle. The Commodore driver was treated for minor injuries and later discharged from hospital. The driver of the small sedan from Ellamore Vale suffered multiple fractures and facial injuries and is in a satisfactory condition after undergoing surgery in Newcastle's John Hunter Hospital today.
The Environment Protection Authority has been testing an innovative way of reducing the amount of waste salt water discharged into the Hunter River by coal mines and power stations. Under a pilot program, it has allocated credit points to each company, regulating the amount they can discharge.
Because mines have stopped trickling their water in every day into the river, they're now only able to discharge on a fairly limited number of days each year.
The aim of the scheme is to improve the water quality for irrigators and to safeguard the river's ecosystem.
It makes us a good citizen or a good neighbour with the farmers and irrigators in the valley, which is important to us. And the other is it does give us some options in the way that we manage water supplies and water discharges on mine sites that we didn't have before.
Those options include buying credit from other companies. If a mine exceeds its credit limit and wants to discharge extra wastewater, it can buy credit points from other companies that don't need them.
There is an incentive for the good environmental performers to get a benefit as a result of what they've done, and for the poor performers to have to pay the good performers.
A meeting today of mine companies, Pacific Power and farmers encouraged the EPA to continue the pilot program for another 6 months. Jane Anderson, NBN News. The Hunter Water Corporation has 43 sewer overflow points in Lake Macquarie. Premier Carr today announced that pollution control licences will be introduced to reduce the discharge from the sewers, improving water quality.
What we're doing is putting in place tighter standards, licensing of sewerage overflows, a whole package of measures to get the greatest progress that's ever been planned in the quality of this lake.
Mr Carr was addressing the Lake Macquarie Environment Forum. He also announced $1.5 million has been allocated to help rehabilitate land which Lake Macquarie Council purchased at Green Point to create a reserve.
It's a commitment of $500,000 each year for 3 years to rehabilitate Green Point, and rehabilitating it means that it's going to become all the better as an area for public recreation.
Meanwhile, following the release of a report yesterday which detailed the state of Lake Macquarie, the state government will contribute a further $65,000 to a project which will try to find some solutions to the lake's problems. Jane Anderson, NBN News.
Slow and steady wins the race, and there were none steadier at Newcastle Golf Course today than Lee McKechnie. While he's playing putt, Zane and Moore are part of a 30-man squad that will go into a 5-day camp under the guidance of national coach Eddie